When's the last time you or someone in your organization did a cost analysis on your contact center? We're going to take the next 5 minutes and we're going to go through a step-by-step process that you can find out how much each agent is actually costing you in your contact center. We want to show you a tool that we use when we're doing any type of consulting or talking to a potential client on how they can do a really quick 5 to 10 minute cost analysis on their contact center. I think it's really helpful to do and really maybe open some eyes up if your internal contact center is not being budgeted properly or you're not sure really what you're spending. So I'll have a link to this that you can go on to yourself when we're done and you can kind of play with some of the numbers that maybe fit your contact center environment a little bit better. But I want to take you through this. I think it's a really useful tool to really drilling down on how much you're spending per associate in your contact center. So, the first cost that we have obviously is just your agent cost. And let me just pull this up so that we have as much of the screen as we can. So we're saying in an average 40-hour work week, we're not billing or, I guess from our standpoint, we wouldn't bill for any type of lunches. So we're saying the average work week is 37.5 hours. Average rate of pay nationally is right around $15 an hour for a high-end customer service associate. So we're talking about 50 weeks. We'll talk about those other 2 weeks here in a second. So your cost, is right around $28,000. That's your starting cost for an associate in your contact center. So a lot of people just stop right there and say, that's my cost. Well, there's a lot more that really goes into that to do it properly, to budget this the right way. So the next thing is we want to take the cost for the supervisor and kind of prorate it onto that agent. So, we're saying again 37.5 hours of working. Supervisor makes around $17 an hour. 50 weeks. We're using a 16-to-1 ratio. So if we kind of divide that out, the cost for each of the reps in your room is right around $2,000 to have that supervisor. So that's another $2,000 added cost to that associate when you're looking at just how much the associates are kind of costing you in your room. So then we have our payroll taxes, right? So again, a lot of people stop here. They think that's the number. Well, there's another 12% that you need to add on to that salary, which is another about $3,500. And then the other 2 weeks that we talk about is vacation and sick time. So we kind of took the 2 weeks of vacation plus giving an associate some sick time and maybe some holiday hours. And those are going to come up to about another $2,700. Your telephony and per minute costs can vary widely depending on the type of telephony you use and what type of contracts you have. But let's just say for the sake of this that we're at $250 a month per agent. So over that 12-month period, that's a cost of about another $3,000 for that agent. We are always ongoing and upgrading our equipment. Here at Expedia, so whether their computer, their head desk, their desk, their chair, maybe it's every year we're going to upgrade at least have $150 worth of upgrades per agent. So another $150 cost. These are some things maybe that can be a little subjective in your contact center if you would put them to your agents, but this is kind of how we do a apples to apples comparison of contact centers. So we have our QA agents that we say is a 30-to-1 ratio. So these are all of our quality assurance people who are in the back, who are listening, who are using speech analytics to monitor and make sure that everybody's doing their job. So if we take their salary, which is about an average, over the 30 agents that they're listening to, per agent, that's about another $1,100, $1,200 cost. Same thing with your workforce management, over about 150 agent average smaller contact center. Looking at another almost $300 added on. Pretty much all customer service organizations are using some type of CRM, whether that's an internal piece. Most of it is now off the shelf, a Salesforce, a Zendesk. So, an average per license fee is right around $150 a month, which adds up to about another $1,800. Then you have your training costs. So, from onboarding a new agent, and we're just giving a pretty 30-hour which is a pretty short period of time, but just for the sake of this, 30 hours of training plus ongoing training of 1 hour per week off the phone of non-production time. So we're looking at about another cost of about another $1,200. The rent, the average contact center associate has a square footage of about 150 square feet. The average rent in the United States is right around $20 a square foot. So your cost right there for just that, even that pod that these guys are in, is right around $3,000 that your organization is paying. So motivations and bonuses, this is probably really low. So let's make that $1,000, per agent. That's for the entire year. So that's, things like you're doing lunches and lottery tickets and games and those types of things that you're handing out to your associates. It could also include commission, which is probably going to make that even much higher than that. And then, you have your IT costs per agent. So, if we're looking at, setting up databases and doing their screens and integrations and, all that IT workforce that you have, maybe that's a little high, but so, it's probably around $1,000 per rep. We like to say it's about $1,500. That's kind of what we pay here at Expedia with all the work that we do from an IT standpoint. So when you take all of this in, you can really see that the number is not here. This is the number that everyone uses, right? So even for budgetary, we see this all the time when people come to us or customers come to us and say, well, this is how much I'm paying per agent, and my budget's way off. Everybody's kind of out of whack. We're doing something wrong. Well, they're not really looking at everything. So, this is really the number. We find that it's right around $50,000 a year to do a high-end contact center, to do the proper, to have the proper training, to have the proper IT, to have the proper setup, to really do it right. On this as well, I didn't get into this because I'm not trying to sell anything here, but we do have kind of on the other side, the cost for outsourcing and, some of the other things that obviously there's not a lot of costs for that you would be paying. But I just wanted to focus today really on you being able to do a quick cost analysis on your contact center. Maybe open your eyes a little bit, or at least get you to think really outside just what is it costing me per agent in their salary, because there's a lot that goes into it. It's really turned into a real high-tech industry, so you have to make sure that you have really all the pieces there to have a really well thought out contact center, and you have to make sure that you have this budgeted and you have the finances for it as well. So I hope this helps. If you'd like to discuss or talk about any of this, please shoot me an email. I'd be more than happy to give you some more information on this. And like I said, I'll also have the link to this so that you can kind of play with this yourself and throw some numbers in that maybe are more apropos to your contact center as well. Thank you.